Radio Free Tatooine presents Galactic War Report, a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast.
Boshuda, fellow Holotable Hustlers. You are tuned into Galactic War Report, a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast that's better than some and worse than others. I'm Sean, a.k.a. The Other Sean, and I am flying solo once again tonight. It's been, what can we say? It's been a crazy summer. Fortunately, it hasn't been that crazy of a week in-game. There's really been a little bit of news, a little bit of goings-on. Really, the biggest news has to do with taking another way to take down a galactic legend with a cheap team. Which, really, that's some kind of neat news. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the upcoming new version of Ezra Bridger that we have learned about officially in-game now. It was kind of rumored out there, and it totally makes sense for a new Ahsoka that there would be a new Ezra. But we got some details, so we're going to talk about that. As well as Luthen. He's out in the wild. Conquest has wrapped. So people have Luthen now. What are you doing with him? What can you do with him? We'll talk about all that and more in just a moment. But first, I want to celebrate some blurf days. All right, we've got a handful of them this week, and it's actually kind of perfect because on the 23rd, we have Houndstooth, the most annoying ship in the game, turns, 6 years old, and still just an absolute beast of a tank. I mean, the part of the beauty of Houndstooth is, I mean, it fits on an Executor team, right? But even before Executor, Houndstooth was just whatever fleet you have, it's all Rebels. Cool, yes, and Houndstooth. It's all Empire, yes, and Houndstooth. You just put it on whatever your best fleet was, and it made it better. And that's really saying something. And it you know, when it came out, I felt it was overpowered in a way. Maybe it kind of is. But I think once Executor came out and Profundity came out, and they could play off each other, it all fits now. So also, according to my notes, and my notes could be wrong, but the very next day, on the 24th, Aura Singh turns 6 years old. Did Aura Singh really come out the day after Houndstooth? Because that just seems wild to me. But it could be when I built this calendar. I'm going to give you a little inside baseball or inside hotball, whatever. When I built this calendar, I referenced swgohevents.com pretty heavily for dates that I didn't know. But there's also like a SWGOH wiki. I forget the address exactly. It might just be swgoh.wiki or something. But that has release date info as well. And I've noticed only in the last couple weeks, as I was kind of touching up some calendar things, that I think the days are 1 day off on Wiki, and it might be a time zone thing, but they're 1 day earlier. So it might be that Aura Singh came out 2 days after Houndstooth. Just FYI. So maybe that tarnishes blurf days entirely. And you may feel going forward that when I say happy blurf day to Aura Singh, you may just think, well, it's not even her blurf day, Sean. So no, no happy birthday to Aura Singh until the 25th. Look, however you want to celebrate it, just know that, that there's some wiggle room on some of these. It's like old birth records, basically. What else do we have? We have on the 27th, this was Admiral Piet, releasing in the year 2020, so he is 4 years old. And then on the 28th, it's great. It's just perfect. The 28th, we're celebrating Captain Han Solo, ROLO, and Hermit Yoda, as that was the release of the territory battle on Hoth in 2017. ROLO, of course, is the lady of the Sholo this week. She's amazing. We love us some ROLO. We have sung about her. We have been... newer listeners might not know that I am the world's first Gear 13 ROLO owner. So obviously a big fan. I was the first person in the world to take her in the live production environment to Gear 13. They may have tested her at that. I assume they did, but that's the one thing I've achieved in this game. I can't crack out a Kyber 2, but I was the first Gear 13 ROLO. All right, let's take a look at this week's upcoming in-game events brought to you by swgohevents.com. For a complete list of past, present, and future events, swgohevents.com is a universe of info in a galaxy of heroes. This week, not quite as loaded as the last because we don't have Conquest wrapping and all of the associated events that pop up at the end of that. However, there's plenty to do. We've got on the 23rd a Galactic Bounty event. It's Bounties 1. I don't remember which one's which, but you fight some stuff, you get some shards. That's cool. We also have a Galactic Challenge. This is going to be on Jakku. It's bonuses for rebels, and you're fighting against the Resistance. The two big good guy groups. I don't know. Fighting over a parking space or something, no doubt. 24th is an assault battle. This will be Places of Power. On the 25th, we have a sign up for another territory war. Maybe this time. You guys, sometimes I'm like a really good guildie. I promise. Sometimes I am. And sometimes I am the worst. And this last territory war, I was the worst. I just completely failed to set defenses, which is very atypical for me. I'm not great at territory war, but I set a lot of defenses, and I have worked on those teams, and I put Omicrons on them, and I've done some work. Totally forgot to set defenses, which puts me into a panic. So I tell the group, like, hey guys, don't worry, I got this. I'll be Mr. Attack, right? I get one battle in, and we're like on the front line, so I get my one battle in, it's successful. I'm like, all right, so I'm going to give it a minute and see if everyone else does some attacks and see what's behind this and then what else we can attack. And I totally forgot. And territory war ended, and I got no rewards because I did not get 50 banners. And I can't tell you the last time that happened, but it was humbling. Nothing. No droid brains, no Zeta mats, nothing. Ugh. So I will be doing better on the 25th. Also on the 25th, we have a fleet mastery. This will be Admiral's Maneuver for your Radis blueprints. On the 26th, we have Grand Arena Sign Up. This will be the last week of 5v5, Season 56. Then we go back to 3s, and everything gets weird again. We'll actually have a week off, so you can catch me on Twitch playing some Star Wars Hunters, because that's the only time I played that game, it feels like. On the 26th, we also have an Endor Omega Battle and another Galactic Challenge, details of which are not yet known. The 27th gives us a finalizer fleet mastery. The 28th, we have Ghosts of Dathomir. That's the Night Sister Zombie or Night Sister Spirit shards. And then the 29th is another territory war. Number 340. That's a lot of territory wars. And let me tell you, that's it. That's it for events. So we're moving on to the next segment, which is me just pointing out that this is episode 400. I didn't even, I was kind of aware of it, like, because I read out show notes for each one. And last week, like 399. Wow, we're really coming up on 400. Jeez. And until right before I started, I didn't even realize that today's podcast is episode 400. 400 times I have sat down here and ran my mouth about this goofy video game where we collect Star Wars characters who may or may not reflect who they are in the movie. And anyways, I just wanted to take a second to say thanks to everyone who listens regularly or who used to listen. I mean, look, the nature of this game is you play it until you burn out, and then you might come back and you might burn out again. So I get that not everyone can listen to this podcast every week, because it's a commitment playing the game. And we just aim to make that commitment a little more enjoyable by getting a little bit of a little perspective, like that we try to provide here, is that we're not the experts. We're not Bit Dynasty showing you how to do things. We're not I say it wrong all the time. Sunjita. Yes. Because I used to think it was Sungata, but then I realized it's like a DBZ reference. Sunjita, who expertly reviews Datacron sets. We're not that. We don't know what the heck we're doing, just like you. And that's why we do this. Is because we're just trying to survive the game. So anyways, before we dive into the actual stories this week, I do want to give one other shout out. That's to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy what we do and want to be a part of our exclusive community, head over to patreon.com/Galactic War Report. Your support makes this podcast possible, and you get access to a VIP section of our Discord server for some behind-the-scenes banter. We talk about all the free riders. That's what we do, really, all the time. So, anyways, let's get to the stories. There's a few this week, and they're all a little bit silly, if you ask me. There's Galactic Ascendancy Bundle was advertised in the store as coming with Chirotech. And the fun part of that is that it doesn't come with Chirotech. So they are aware of that. If you bought that and you didn't get your Chirotech, I don't even know what else is in it. I'm looking in the store right now, but good Lord, there's 1,000 packs. And it might be that it's gone. But basically, they said to everyone who bought it, we weren't supposed to include Chirotech, but we're gonna. Like, you can't just bait and switch like that. So it is coming. When? I don't know. I assume probably pretty soon. The next story is where, God, this is some good stuff. Ezra Bridger. He's coming to the game. I mean, his old school, like, Phoenix version is in the game, and that's all well and good. But we are getting the new one from the Ahsoka series. And the reason we know this for sure is because they did a community milestone event, which you may recall was their their pitch. I think we talked about it last week. Not positive, but I think we did. At any rate, it's this community-wide event. Everyone participates, whether you want to or not, playing in the game. Essentially, if you win or even sim any fight against troopers in a light side or dark side node, a cantina, or a mod battle, any of those 4 places, if you win a fight against troopers, you score a point for the community. And there's this set of rewards for all these points that you can score. And we've got time to do it, right? But holy smokes. Here's the score right now. The rewards were kind of made fun of when they were announced, right? 14 million wins across the whole player base will give us an upcoming character's name. Well, we got that. It's Ezra Bridger, Exile. Okay, cool. So the thing is, that was like in the road ahead. So we knew that. Okay, cool. At 28 million wins, we get the release date. But the fun thing about this is that in the name announcement, it said Ezra Bridger Exile. And then under that, it said Conquest Unit. Now, anyone who's been playing Conquest for a good amount of time knows that when a Conquest unit is added to the game, you will have it at the soonest in 3 months. So by that math, when the next Conquest starts, if you give it exactly 12 weeks, because it's not months, it's based on weeks, 2 weeks of Conquest, 2 weeks, no Conquest. Do that 3 times and you've got it. At the end of that, it'll be November 11th. So before we even hit that milestone, we know that we're going to have Ezra Bridger Exile at the soonest on November 11th. So the release date was announced as August 28th. Not November 11th, but August 28th, which I'm assuming, because that's, this week, I'm assuming that's when he's going to be added to the game files. And so you can, spin around his little hologram version. That's silly. At 42 million, they give you his kit. Now, the thing about the kit is, as far as I can tell, all they've given is the name of his abilities. So he has a basic called Fugitive's Defense. He has a special called Kanan's Legacy. Another special called Daring Advance. And 2 uniques. One called Exile and one called The Force is My Ally. That's what we've got. If we hit 56 million, everyone gets 100 bonus conquest energy. So starting this next conquest, you'll have bonus energy. Guys, I'm excited that there's a new Ezra, but this contest is just so silly. It is so silly. The only actual thing in there that's a reward is the bonus conquest energy. The other stuff is just, they're going to add him when they're going to add him. And we already knew he was coming. So it's thanks, I guess. All right. Another story this week that feels, I don't want to call it a self-own. It's not a self-own. It has to do with Leia, a tale of two Leias. So the newest galactic legend is still Leia. She's been out for like a year, but she is the newest galactic legend. Obviously, we know Ahsoka is coming, and plenty of us are working on that and trying to be as ready as we can be for that. But as far as newest galactic legends, it's Leia. And like the intent behind galactic legends is they're supposed to be the best of the best. And yes, like Bane can take some down and Reva can take some down, but like those are hard to acquire characters, and they don't just, you can't just beat any galactic legend with Bane. You could do, like Leia, Rey, there's some varying difficulties there, right? But the point is they're supposed to stand head and shoulders above the rest of the crowd. That's how they were sold. That's always been how they were envisioned, right? But a year after the release of Leia, it just comes out of the woodwork that you can beat her on full auto with a team with no galactic legends and very little, like there's a journey character, right? But if you use Rebel Officer Leia Organa, ROLO, with Sana Starros and a couple other rebels. So I see Captain Rex, although I've heard he's not mandatory. I see CLS and I see Cassian. And I've heard that these are kind of flexible. You can use a couple different variations of it, but that's the core of the team, right? And basically it has to do with Sana Starros giving rebels on her team. Oh, shoot. Why am I blanking on it? It's not doubt. It's a debuff. She gives them all a suspicious, whatever. Yeah, that's what it is. Gives them all that, and all those debuffs ramp up turn meter for ROLO, and it creates this like turn meter train that, I mean, look, there's turn meter trains out there. There's Palpatine. When he gets going, he gets going. There's troopers. There's Night Sisters. But this is a literally, once this starts, the other team will not be taking any turns. It's gonna take some time because it's not like Cassian hits like a truck. Like these guys take some time to cut through it, but on full auto, it beats a ROLO team. A Galactic Legend Leia team, I'm sorry. And that is pretty clearly not the intention. So it, like, we became aware of this. I forget the user's name, but basically someone like is like, hey, look at this cool thing I can do. Arnold posted a video. Arnold T101 posted a video on it. And honestly, it was like an incredibly relatable video because through most of the whole thing, he's just kind of like, what? Because that's all you can say. You're like, how? What? How is this a thing? It blows my mind that it can happen. But what really blows my mind is that it took a year, and we didn't know about this. These are not new characters. Sana Starros is the newest character on the team. So, like, we've been able to do this since day one that Leia hit the tables, but we're just kind of figuring this out. As soon as CG caught wind of it, they put out a statement basically saying, hey, yeah, we're investigating this. You better believe we're investigating this. And honestly, I've seen some some kind of pushback online on Reddit. A lot of people saying, yeah, of course they're going to nerf it. And look, if you've been listening to the show recently, you know that I go through some episodes of like, why do I even play this game? Like, I'm not having fun. I'm not. You know, these are the questions I ask myself. Like today, I'm having fun. I'm having fun with the game. I'm good. But I've gone through a period recently where it's just like the new raid and there's so much stuff to do. And these are not like things that are not problems anymore. It's just kind of like, it's a framing, like mindful thing of like, yes, but at the end of the day, is it still fun? Yes, it is. Right. So I've been plenty critical of CG and game design choices that I think that like that Padme Datacron, that was a bad idea. I'll just say it. It was a really bad idea. I don't like it. It has not sparked joy for the player base. We don't like it. That said, like, of course CG is going to fix this. You can't just have ROLO rolling over a Galactic legend. I'm sorry. There's a point where it's like not clever theory crafting. It's just, oh, there's a busted thing we didn't realize existed. Because you work so hard to get Galactic legends. And I know there's been like bounty hunters that could take out Lord Vader. That one's a bit of a stretch, and they did investigate, and they said, I think we're going to leave it because it's not 100%, and it's not easy. This is literally just a super easy to build team that you put on auto. Doesn't matter what kind of mods you have. Doesn't matter what relic level they are. None of that stuff matters because the other team doesn't get a turn. And so I just feel like everyone's so quick to jump on CG for doing things wrong, but we have to make sure they're doing something wrong if we're going to call them out on it. And I don't think this is wrong at all. I think it would be very irresponsible to just let this be, to just leave this in the game. It's not like people are running out there, well, heck, I guess I'm going to unlock ROLO finally. No, we all have her. Like, there's a couple people that didn't have Sana yet because they didn't go for Afra or something, like, but they were quick to jump on it and say we're investigating it. So I think it's going to get nerfed, and I think it needs to get nerfed. It's just a bridge too far. So I have spoken. Now, the other thing that's happened this week, and I guess I don't really have a whole lot to say about it yet, but we will, is that Luthen has been released, right? He's actually hit his release date, not his added to the game files date. As Conquest wrapped up last Monday, I got myself a Luthen, and I was really excited, and then I got stopped. I couldn't gear him up. I got stopped at like gear 3. You know what piece I'm talking about. One of those stupid little green or blue pieces that always seem to pop up when you're doing this. You save all the Cairo and all this other stuff, and it's always something like that, right? All right, fine. I refresh and I get that. And then another little piece and another little piece. Man, I got stuck on so many gear levels, and I'm still, as I record, it's Wednesday night, and I still don't have my gear 13, and it's not Cairo. I had the Cairo. It's all these other goofy parts that I didn't realize how low I was. I wasn't like tracking it, and it's not super important to me. Like Luthen, cool. Yeah, I like him. I would like to try him out, but it's fine. The other thing is, because he just released, we don't have any hard data on what he can do. Is he going to be best on a Mon Mothma team? Is he going to be best on a Saw team? I think early evidence shows Mon Mothma team. It'll be him on a Mon Mothma team with like Kyle, Cara Dune, and another like Pow or Biston or one of those little dudes. But personally, I'm just kind of waiting a week until .gg has the data and I can really parse out exactly how I want to put him into my lineup and if I want to give him an Omicron or if I need to. So we'll definitely have more about Luthen in the coming week or so. I think next week we'll definitely have enough info to kind of say if he's making a splash or not. I think it looks like he's going to be pretty solid, but yeah, it's hard to tell, and I can't really test it because I don't even have him at Gear 13. So obviously, no datacrons are gonna be applied. So, yeah. So it is time to do our Grand Arena breakdown. Normally, we kind of go through week after week of what's been going on, or round after round, but we're right at the start of week 2, so I don't really have that much to share. I will say I streamed on Twitch today before recording, Wednesday, and I feel like I did pretty well. I put up 18-16. My opponent, Wolf, I don't know, Wolf. It's a mouthful. Had not attacked yet, and still, I just looked a few minutes ago, and he still has not attacked. So we'll see. The only thing I slipped up on was, I slip up a lot usually, but only thing that got me was a Ray team where I tried to attack it with my regular Seer team, and I gave them a really good attacker datacron, the one where you get offense up and defense penetration up at the end of your turn. So he gets it at the end of his turn, and Malicos gets it. Malicos gets it at the end of his turn, and it just didn't matter. I could not get, and I don't even remember. I think they just had one of those 15% bonus health and protection datacrons. It was not a high level datacron, and it wasn't anything out of the ordinary that I haven't faced before. But man, that took me down. I took out the 2 tanks, so Jedi Training Ray and Holdo went down. And then I came back in with gas and absolutely cleaned house. That was great. I wasn't aware I used GAC Insight on swgoh.gg to see, specify these are the 3 that are left. It's a cleanup. What do I do? And gas popped up with like a really high success rate. All right, cool. Didn't even lose a single clone either. It was like really, really effective. So that's really good to know. On defense, I went kind of hard on defense. I changed up my defenses based on new data on GG. And I will say I left Leia on there because my opponent did not set Leia on defense rudely. But I wanted to set her. Like, Brewer Wolf. I can't even. I hope you have a Rolo, and I hope you have a blast in that battle. And I hope I still win, but that you get to take down my Leia with a Rolo. Because that just seems fun. Maybe next round. We'll see. Maybe next round I get one. All right. I think that's it for the week. Not a whole lot new. Just a whole lot. Oh, I did want to brag also about the raid. I hit max score with a Luminara team with my bad mods on them. I was like trying to set loadouts and get these perfect mods, and then I came close to a high score, to a max score, and blah, blah, blah. I did nothing for mods. I don't think a single one of them had 6-dot mods. And I hit max score. And so I guess that's what I'm doing from now on. I would have had a record run, and I still might have. But I had my last run was a Darth Maul run, and it was really bad. And I needed to quit and retry. And I accidentally submitted the score with just like a couple 100,000. So all my other teams nailed it this time. But next time, we'll see. All right. Before I head out, though, let's just get right down to business and talk about who I'm grinding. This feels weird when I'm the only one here to be talking about who I'm grinding. Like, should be a therapist here with a notepad or something. But no, it's just me. So, in preparation for Galactic Legend Ahsoka, I took Ezra Bridger from Relic 3 up to Relic 5. Everything's relics. That's all that matters anymore, you know? And that's not going to change. For Zetas, I applied Luthen. Only has one. I was saving him. I thought he'd have more, but I gave Luthen his Zeta, and then I gave one of Night Troopers. I gave Night Trooper one of his. I figure I might as well get that team Zeta'd up. Just get it over with. The other thing I did was my Poncho pals, Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan. I took them both from Relic 5 up to Relic 6, as I am working them both eventually up to Relic 9. I figure even if I don't have the whole team at Relic 9, having those two at Relic 9 is going to be awesome in the raid. And I noticed that I did better with that team this time, for sure, with the Padme or Queen Amidala team. So no regrets there. And I'm really like, that assault battle is so good. I can't not get those rewards. So we were able to do the Relic 3 and Relic 5 versions this time, and that was pretty awesome. So I really look forward to finishing those. Everything needs to be high Relic now, too, so that's painful. The other thing I've added is some characters that I ended up with datacrons for. I added them into my favorites, and I've got so many characters at Relic 3 that need to go to 5 to use their datacrons. Now, I'm not going to lie, I put Geonosian Soldier in my favorites, and he was there for a few days, and he has been removed. I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think it's a terrible idea, but realistically, I don't think I can do that and do the other ones I want to do. So the only one I've actually started on is Sabine. I have gone from Relic 3 up to Relic 4. I love that datacron, so gotta get her up there. Barriss, I just re-rolled that one today, and so no, that was yesterday. Doesn't matter. Recently, she's at Relic 3, and that's an awesome cron. She's on my Padme team on Grand Arena, so like, get to it, man. I really need that cron to be active. So that's pretty cool. The other one that I got that I was kind of interested in was, I've got plenty of others that I already have the character high enough to do, but the other one I was kind of interested in was I got Vandor Chewie. And I thought, I don't use him, really. He's part of the dash team, but I haven't been using that on defense. I technically have it for an attack team, but I usually don't need it, right? So, I don't know. Maybe I'll take him up to 5, and I also don't have the Omicron on dash. So I'm kind of like, well, now it just seems silly to do all that for a Datacron. That's pretty good, but whatever. So I took him out of my favorites too and re-rolled it and got Stormtrooper Han. So now I'm feeling better. I'm going to take him up to Relic 5. I think that's a pretty solid option. I like that. He's a cool character. I haven't used him in a long time. Roll him up to Relic 5 and see what I can do. We'll see. Speaking of rerolls, holy smokes, have I been rerolling Datacrons over and over and over. And yeah, they're kind of expensive, but I hadn't rerolled doodly squat from this set. And now I've gone through and like perfected a lot of them. I didn't get into like ability, just the level 3, 6, and 9 things. The getting too granular on those abilities would like literally drive me insane. That's all we got for you this week. It may not be the best advice, but at least we didn't recommend you invest in Vandor Chewbacca in 2024. If you want to continue this conversation, join our Discord server, linked in the show description. Become a real live Jawa by supporting us on Patreon, and share your thoughts by leaving us a podcast review. Big thanks also go out to Habuapa and swgoh.gg and swgohevents.com for providing all the hard data we misinterpret weekly. Thanks for tuning in, and may the Force and RNG be with you.